Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the live streams. We are going to just continue on where we got to before Christmas. So don't worry if you've forgotten. I've got a list of where we got to. We're basically looking at a March 2023 paper. Remember that March papers are specifically for India. They have their own sitting in March, but they're still really helpful. They have their own sitting in March. But they're still really helpful papers to do. So let's start. I'm just going to check that my sound's working. Yeah, it is. It's there. Good. Okay, so let's just go to my screen and then there we go. We can start looking at this paper. Okay, so the exam paper, like I said, is March 2023. And we got to this question here, which is part C on page 10. So it is question number 5 on page 10. And we're now looking at parity. So the data transmission will use parity checks. Bytes need to be sent using an even parity byte check. Complete the parity bit for each byte. Okay, so remember that with this, all we're going to do is we're going to count how many ones there are. And then all we do is work out, is that odd or even? And they've told us already that it's an even parity. So we just count 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 ones. So that basically means that it's an even number. 4 is an even number. So the parity bit here needs to be a 0. So one thing I forgot to do actually before I started streaming was I forgot to open my whiteboard. So just give me 1 sec while I open that, because I need to write. I need to doodle as I do this. So just give me 1 second while I just open that up. And I am kind of still here, but okay, I'm back. Right, sorry about that. We're just going to have a look at that question again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one there is going to be a 0. And I'm just going to draw that out just to show you. So we've got 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. So we just count them 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 is an even number. So that's going to be a 0. Then our second number, byte B, has no ones in this. So this is a little bit of a cheeky question. And the cheeky question is basically saying that, you know, we've got no ones. What do we do? Because our count is 0. Well, 0 is classed as an even number. So basically, we just put a 0 on that one as well. So the answer to that one is 2 zeros. Part 2, a parity block check can be used instead of a parity byte check. Explain how a parity block check might detect an error in transmission that would not be detected by a parity byte check. And actually, if we look later on here, there is actually a parity block check here that we're going to do. Now, basically what they're getting at with this is that the main problem with parity is it does tell you an error most of the time, but it doesn't tell you which bit was wrong. So say, for example, we had this example that we've got here, and the sender, here we are, the sender sends their parity here, or the byte, and they send that, that's what the sender sends, but the receiver gets this, sorry, just do it slightly differently. The receiver does this. There we go. So the final bit there, that's been lost somehow. So the receiver counts number of ones. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and they get the number 3 instead of 4. So the parity or the data was 4. So they know something's gone wrong. We know something's gone wrong. It's an odd number, but we don't know what's gone wrong. It could be literally any of those bits out of it, 8. We don't know which one it is. And that's what they're getting at here. They basically want you to say, well, we don't know which bit was incorrect, but a parity block will let you identify that because we're blocking them together, as you can see here. You block them together and we can find out. So we'll do that one in a moment. So yeah, just 2 marks for this one. But yeah, and so you don't need to write, too much of an essay like I have. But ultimately, we're going to say, if there's an error, we don't know which bit has gone wrong, and therefore a block using the parity blocks can help you find out what that error is. So let's have a look at the mark scheme for this. It's this one here, and we'll just have a look and see what the exam paper says. And remember, if you've attended any of these before, I always say that you must always look at the mark scheme because you'll learn what they want you to say. So it says here 5CII, in parity check, interchange of bits will not be detected, or the parity check cannot detect the even number of changes. So that's another point actually, is you could have 2 errors. So say for example, the sender was sending that original block, but the receiver gets this. There we go. So we've lost those 2 last bits there, and that gives us 2, which is an even number. So we've got 1, 2, it's still an even number. Well, the receiver thinks that that's correct, but it isn't actually correct. So it just it's not caught basically. So yes, so that's what it's talking about there. It cannot detect an even number of changes. And yeah, you could have four errors or 6 errors, 8 errors, then you're not going to pick them up. So yeah, and you can't say which one is correct. So it's possible to position all of the changes will be highlighted or will identify the horizontal and vertical position of all difference. So that basically means that with the blocks, it can show you where the error occurred. So let's have a look at the next question actually, because it is a parity block and we do need to find where the error occurred for this. And this is even parity again, and we need to find the bit and the byte number, and it says one of the bits has been transmitted incorrectly. So if you can remember what to do with this, basically you count how many ones across, do it for all the bytes, do the same for all of them, for all, including the parity byte. And then once you've done that, one of them will be incorrect, and then you do the columns. So you count down 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll start you off actually, and in fact what I'll do is I'll put this onto my whiteboard, and then we can do it. There we go. The magic of drag and drop. So I'll do the first one of each one for you. So, and then you can do the rest and see if you can do it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one's 4. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 for that one down there. So carry on and try and find where the error is. Just go across and then go down and find the odd numbers basically. So I'm just going to sit here and let you do that for a moment. Oh, good, we've got an answer there already. Yeah, 2 answers with the same thing. Yeah, bit 6, byte 4. Let's have a look, shall we see? In a mo. Let's have a look. So I'm going to count the others. We've got 1, 2, so that's 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, byte 4, definitely. I'll just do the others as well. That's 0, just in case, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 for that one. And then I'll do the columns. So we're saying bit 6. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we've done that one. 1, 2, 3, 4 for that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That will be. Someone's asked. I'm just sending a message to them. Right, okay, done. Right, so hopefully it will pick up. So next question then is, the website allows the user to set up an account to log on and purchase items. The website is accessed and displayed using a web browser. 2 functions of a web browser are to render hypertext markup language, or HTML, to display web pages and store cookies. Identify 2 other functions of a web browser. So there's quite a long list actually that you can put. As web browsers do a lot of different things. What could you put here? What other things do browsers do? So it's not freezing now, I'm just giving you some time to answer. So if you think about what you do on a browser, there's quite a lot of stuff. So you can have favorites list, you can have, it can run JavaScript, it can store your history, it deals with cookies. So that's the sort of thing that they're after. Yeah, bookmarks, that's exactly it. Yeah, so if we have a look at the mark scheme, there's a lot of stuff here. Storing bookmarks or favorites, storing history, allow multiple tabs, allow movement back and forth between web pages or navigation tools, allows the user to enter a URL, manages HTTP or HTTPS, search cache for IP, request IP from DNS, so that's the Internet Protocol address from the domain name service. We'll have questions on that. If you kind of can't remember what that is, don't worry, I will. There will be other questions on that. They like asking about DNS. Sends a request to the IP address or the web server, runs active script or JavaScript or client-side script, allows files to be downloaded from a website or the internet. And it does say EG, so if you thought something else does, you should get marks for that as well. Okay, next question then. Identify 2 ways that cookies can be used to enhance the user's experience of this website. Identify 2 ways that cookies can be used to enhance the user's experience of this website. What do you think? So it says identify 2 ways that cookies can be used to enhance the user's experience. I'm having a look at this as I'm teaching, and I can see it's a little bit fuzzy for me, so I don't know whether or not it's out of focus for you. Yeah, personalised ads. Yeah, that's a good one. Personalised products. That sounds good to me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Good. Yeah, personalised products. Personalise the website by displaying products and interesting. I'm just going to switch to my... Actually, I don't know whether that will let me do it. Yeah, so definitely personalisation of the web page is a good one. Let's have a look at the mark scheme. There's quite a lot of stuff in here. And again, it says EG. So we've got storing preferences so that the user does not have to select their preferences each time they visit the site. I mean, that can be good and bad, you know, so it might be that they don't want the preferences. So I had a case, especially when my children were younger, that I was buying clothes for my kids, and they basically, websites where I bought clothes for my kids kept advertising kids' clothes, but actually I was like, well, they buy their own clothes now, they're older. You don't need to you don't need to have those anymore. Yeah, anyway. Storing preferences so that the user doesn't have to select them. Storing account details so the user does not have to remember or enter their username and password each time they visit the site. Storing recent purchases to allow the user to quickly reorder more items. Storing the pages or visited items selected to display relevant adverts. Storing shopping basket so that when the user leaves the site, the items are still in their basket. And again, this says EG, so you know, you could put something else and they should give you a mark as long as it was a reasonable answer. Okay, let's look at the next question. Next question is, a company is involved in robotics. One of its robots is designed to make a specific movement depending on a binary value. The table below gives some of the movements for the robot. So we've got forward 1 step, back 1 step, turn left, turn right. Complete the table by writing the missing binary, denary or hex value for each movement. So this is literally just converting binary to hex or denary to hex, denary to binary, etc. Can you see that all right, everybody? Because mine's a little bit fuzzy. Is it a bit fuzzy for everybody else, or is it just me? It could be my internet connection. Bit annoying. Okay, it's fine for you. Good. Okay. All right. So you need to try and fill in these gaps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. See how you get on. I will just be quiet here for a moment. But I am still here. Okay, so okay, so we've got quite a few to do, 4 of them to do. You might have your preference as to which is the easiest way to convert them, but let's have a look at that. Let's just grab this in here. So I think for hexadecimal, you know, the first one is quite easy because actually converting from binary to hex is the easiest way. So I would take this number and we're just going to take the first 4 digits and then convert them into basically denary. And then if there's any letters, then we convert it into a letter. So we've got the number 1 for this one, and then for this one it's F. So basically it's 1F for the first one. And then so there's no other hex that way, but we have got a hex to binary. So hex to binary is probably the easiest way to do things. So I'm going to do this one here at the bottom, turn left, 7, 7, 8 in hex. So 7 in hex is basically 0, 1, 1, 1, because it's 0, 2, 4, and then 8. And 2, that's 1. 4, 2 plus 1 is 7. So it's 0, 1, 1, 1 for the first bit. And then for the second one, it's 8. And we've got a column for 8. So it's just 1. 8 is 1, 0, 0, 0, because it's 8, 4, 2, and then 1. So it's 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so that is that one. And then we've got turn right. So this one here, binary to denary. So I'm just going to add up 128, 64, 32. So what have we got? 64, 32, we've got 16, and then we've got 8, and then we've got 2. So that is, I'm going to add those up, 64, you can hear, you fixed it, oh good, nice. So I'm going to add up 64 plus 6 plus 8 plus 2, which is 90. So that one is 90 in denary. And then the last one is denary to binary. So that is going to be 140. So we've got 128, 64, 32, 4, 2 and 1. So with 140, we definitely need to have 128 on. And that leaves us with 12. So everything else is off apart from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the final answer is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so that is a nice bit of hex and binary and denary. Let's look at the next question then. How are we doing for time? Another 15 minutes left. Good. So we've got describe what is meant by robotics. 2 marks for this one. So bit of an open-ended question. I don't really like these sorts of questions myself. Mainly because it's just a bit vague, isn't it, really? What should we put in this one then for 2 marks? Describe what is meant by robotics. So those of you in my second year, we haven't done robotics yet, really. So if you answer this, if you've done it ahead of time, that's great. So don't worry if you're thinking, hang on a minute, she hasn't done that yet. It's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So yeah. Because we've got like 2 or 3 weeks of theory left, and then that's everything. Yeah, so robot is a mechanical device that can move or react depending on a condition. That's a good one. Robotics is a field of engineering focused on constructing and operating robots. Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, if we look at the answers, let's find the mark scheme answers. It says that it's the design of robots to perform, and in brackets, you don't have to put what's in brackets. It's optional. So it's the design of robots, the construction of robots, or the operation of robots. That's all you would need to put. But you could put to perform tasks, operations, and functions as well. That's absolutely fine. Okay, we'll move on because we haven't officially covered that yet. And yeah, the next one is about robots, although we did cover this in the last lesson before Christmas. So a robot has a sensor and a microprocessor. The robot will move forward continuously until it detects an object that is less than or equal to 10 centimetres in front of it. If an object is less than or equal to 10 centimetres in front of it, the robot turns 90 degrees right. It then tries to move by having sensors, a microprocessor, and an output, which is what's the word I'm after? It's gone from my brain. Actuator is the word I'm after. Actuator. So this is straight out of what we did before. So the 7 marks for this, a lot of marks on this one. They haven't done one like this for a long time, and they haven't really done one since. But ultimately, yeah, see what you think. What do you think about this one? What could we put for this? Okay, so for this question, for our 7 marks, we're looking at it uses what sort of sensor is it going to use? It uses an infrared or a proximity sensor, and that sensor continually sends digitized values to the microprocessor. You can mention an analog to digital converter if you want. The microprocessor compares the data or the signal to the stored value, which is 10 centimetres. If the data or the signal is greater than 10, then we send a signal to get the robot to move forward. But if the data is less, then a signal is sent to make the robot turn. The actuator is used to make the robot turn or move, and the whole process is repeated continuously until it's turned off or stopped. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 possible marks there. But they're all the same. It doesn't matter what, I mean, I covered this in the lesson. It doesn't matter what you are, what the system is. They all work the same way. They've got a sensor, stored values, move it or not move it, depending on those stored values. So yeah, quite a lot for 7 marks. Is that the last question? No, I think this is the last question. Oh yeah, so this comes to AI as well. So again, we haven't covered this yet in the live lessons, but you might have done if you're on the other course, self-paced one. The robot needs to find its way through different puzzles. Each puzzle has a series of paths that the robot needs to follow to find its way to the end of the puzzle. The puzzle contains dead ends and obstacles, so the robot needs to decide which way to go. The robot's program will use artificial intelligence. I describe the characteristics of AI for 3 marks, and then explain how the program will use AI, and that is for 4 marks. So again, those of you who are on my live lessons, we haven't done this yet. Spoiler alert, this is coming up. So yeah, so don't worry if you haven't seen it. Let's have a look at the answers. So for describing the characteristics of AI, we say it collects data, stores rules for using the data. It has the ability to reason, the ability to learn, or uses machine learning by adapting what it does. For example, from mistakes to not make them again, or the result from previous decisions. By changing its own rules or changing its own data to be trained, makes 1 or more predictions to make a decision, and it might find or analyse patterns. Quite a lot there for those 3 marks. And then the final question was explain how the program will use AI. Well, it's a robot going around a maze, so it's going to try and learn the path. So it will use machine learning algorithms to collect data about where it has been, collect data about obstacles or problems, store successful actions, identify or store patterns to make sure it does not repeat the same incorrect route, so it knows how to react to obstacles next time, or it knows what is most likely to work next time. And I think that's the end of the paper. Yeah, that is the end of the paper. Okay, so I've rushed over those last 2, but yeah, and they haven't asked quite as many questions about AI, or quite so long questions about AI, because actually there's not much about it in the course, which, it was all written and finalised before generative AI like ChatGPT and image generation like Midjourney were available. So, but hopefully when they update the syllabus for 2029, it will be a bit better. Okay, so we've got a few minutes just to move on to the next exam paper in this, which is the paper 2. So this is March 2023, paper 2, 1 hour 45 minutes, just like before. Let's just do a few of these easy questions at the beginning. Tick 1 box to show which word accurately describes the scope of a variable declared in a procedure. Now, don't worry too much if you don't know this one, but I will go through what happens in a moment. We have covered this in the lessons, but have a look and see what you think. So, not many people answering. Oh, so sorry, the chat froze for me. I'm just having a look. So some good answers about the sensor detects how far the nearest object is in front, constantly sends data. It responds back to the actuator to tell it to move. An AI should be able to take an input, process it, and automatically produce an output. Yeah. Must be able to learn. Yeah. The syllabus is changing 2026. It's not, but it isn't. I'll tell you in a mo. We finish in a couple of minutes. Yeah, finishing at 1:45. I'll just overrun ever so slightly. So someone's asked, the syllabus is changing 2026. They updated the syllabus for 2026, but it was about 5 or 6 really minor changes. The only really big changes were for paper 2, if you are asked to write pseudocode, you must write pseudocode. And if you write Python or another language, you will get 0 marks. So that was the really big update. So that's why I'm always making sure that you're answering them correctly. Apart from the 15-mark question where you can answer in either Python or pseudocode. And also one of the other updates they did for 2026 was actually you could, previous to that, you could use any high-level programming language in the 15-mark question, but they've limited you now to Python, Java, and VB.NET. So if you answer in any other language or pseudocode, and so if you answer in any other language, then you will get 0 marks. So that's really what the changes were in 2026. There was a couple of clarifications, and stuff like that, but otherwise it was pretty. There was not much changed. Pseudocode's your weak point. Well, with pseudocode, that's what we're here. We're going to be doing lots of it. So by the time you do the exam, it won't be a weak point. Let's just do this one final question then, before we finish, and we'll carry on tomorrow. We've got description. We've got a pseudocode statement. See if you can work out which is which. I'm just going to put it onto the whiteboard so that I can answer it correctly as well. And then there we go. And then I can put some, there we go, a bit bigger. Oh, there we go. There you go, try that. Okay, so the first one, a statement to count. Anything with a +1 basically is a statement to count, so it is D. A statement to total is where we're adding values up together, summing them basically. So its value is B, value equals value plus new value. A statement to start a precondition loop. So a precondition loop is basically a while loop. So it is C. Because if you think about the way that loops work and the way that the while loop would work, in fact, actually we'll do question 4 and then I'll talk about this. A statement to start a postcondition loop is E, and that's a repeat until. So basically, we've got precondition and postcondition loops. And they're basically talking about while loops or repeat until loops. And a while loop is a precondition loop and a repeat until is a postcondition loop. And the reason is it's where you're checking for whether or not you're going to loop. So your question with a while loop is before you loop. It's pre you actually running the loop. But a repeat until, you've got repeat, you've got your code in your loop, and then you've got your until, and then you are checking at the bottom. It's a post loop check. So that's what they're talking about there, pre and post.